Chapter 3, Evaluating Opportunities in the Changing Market Environment. This is from Essentials of Marketing. Specific aspects of the external market environment, the company, the competitors, aid the firm in evaluating opportunities, and from these opportunities, the best opportunities can be selected. So certain issues are noteworthy. Each company has objectives it wants to accomplish and the specific resources at its disposal. When looking at its competitors, firms must include not only its current competitors but potential or future ones as well. The external market environment is made up of the economic environment, the technological environment, the political and legal environment, and the cultural and social environment. Opportunity evaluation is aided by several screening criteria or prospective planning grids that are covered in this lecture. Often firms must plan for multiple products simultaneously. So once all of the above are considered, and the firm should be able to identify the best opportunities to pursue. So here's a question for you. Think of a firm that is identified with one major project. Who are the competitors? Who are the potential competitors? Now, what is the marketing environment? It's the narrowing down process that needs to be considered and the important elements of the marketing environment and how they are shifting. The marketing strategy planning process requires narrowing down to the best opportunities and developing a strategy that gives the firm a competitive advantage and provides target customers with superior customer value. So let's look at the marketing environment. Just what are we talking about here? The 5 basic areas of the marketing environment are shown in this grid. Marketers should consider each area and how each area interacts with the others when planning strategies. So some of the key issues include the direct marketing environment, its customers, the resources and objectives of the firm, and the firm's competitors. The external market environment consists of the economic environment, the technological environment, the political and legal environment, and the cultural and social environment. Marketers make decisions about these 4 P's, product, place, promotion, price, in the context of the environment. Marketers must continually scan the environment and search for potential opportunities and threats. So here's a question. How is it that a marketer can influence but not directly control the environment? Moving on, setting the firm's course through objectives. When top management sets objectives for an organization, it's especially important to consider the potential impact of the various sectors of the environment. The company objectives provide guidelines for the present and future development of the firm. So a company should engage in specific activities that will perform a socially and economically useful function, develop an organization to carry on the business and implement its strategies, and earn profit enough to survive. A firm's organization and infrastructure, which is the way it's set up, must be created and coordinated to support the firm's strategy. Profit is necessary for continued operation and basic survival. So here's a question for you. How are social good and economic viability related? Are they related? Can you have social good without economic viability? Hierarchy of objectives. Companies have various objectives and they can be placed in hierarchical form. The three general objectives on the right provide guidelines. A firm should develop its own objectives, which usually reflect a company's mission statement and objectives. A mission statement helps set the course for the company. It sets out the organization's basic purpose for being. The whole firm and each functional area should work toward the same objectives. Company objectives provide the larger framework for setting marketing objectives. Marketing objectives guide the development of objectives for each element of the marketing mix. Knowing the objectives for a specific element of the marketing mix then guides more specific objectives. So, for example, marketing objectives drive promotion objectives. And then promotion objectives drive each element of the promotion blend. So objectives should be specific, quantified, and related to time deadlines. So what does it mean to say that objectives should be quantified? What are quantified objectives preferable to objectives that are not quantified? Company resources limit the search for opportunities. Resources are not limitless. We are constrained by them, and they limit our search. So it's important to evaluate how realistic each opportunity is in relation to the specific capabilities of the firm. Key areas that may limit the search for opportunities are, first and foremost, the financial strength. Some opportunities require significantly more capital than others. For example, developing a drug to cure cancer might require a very large investment in research and development. Producing capability and flexibility is another limiting issue. A company may decide if it has the production capacity and skills needed to pursue a particular opportunity, and as production increases, the cost of producing each unit decreases. Making changes can be costly and take time. Next, marketing strengths could limit opportunities because competitive advantages, familiar brand, strong channel relations, creative brand advertising, industry-leading sales forces. The knowledge of people at the firm can also be a unique resource. By analyzing successes or failures in relation to the firm's resources, management can discover why the firm was successful or why it failed in the past. So here, several years ago, Frito-Lay, which is a leading producer of snack foods, added cookies to its traditional line of salty snacks. What marketing strengths could Frito-Lay bring to bear in this extension of its product line? Here we have a major product in the United States marketed by Procter & Gamble. A major marketing strength for many companies is a familiar brand. Aveeno is a very familiar brand in the U.S. market. The major thrust of this ad is the promotion of new Aveeno Daily Moisturizing Body Wash. The new product replenishes skin's natural moisture, and this brand name, Aveeno, has been recommended by dermatologists for 60 years. So this ad highlights the main benefits of soft, smooth, and healthy skin all day. So here's a question. What other marketing strengths does Aveeno have in addition to a strong brand name? The competitive environment. this competitive environment affects the number and types of competitors the marketing manager must face day to day and how they behave. Prudent and good managers choose strategies that avoid head-on competition and/or plan for competition when it is inevitable. So marketers should understand the differences among types of market situations. Monopoly is a case where one company serves the entire customer base. It's competitive, free environment, but environments are very rare. Monopolistic competition. This is where a number of different firms offer marketing mixes that at least some customers see as different. Monopolistic competition is typical and a challenge. Oligopoly. A number of firms, usually small number of firms, that control the market. Barriers to competition, barriers to competitive entry are very high. And then we have pure competition. This is where a large number of firms compete with essentially very similar commodity products. Price is typically the determining factor in making a decision. So we want to avoid head-on competition and know the market situation. So a monopoly is where one company serves the entire customer base. Usually there are no competitors around. Monopolistic competition is where there are a number of different firms offering marketing mixes that at least some customers see as different. Monopolistic competition is typical and a challenge. Oligopoly is a small number of where firms control the market. Barriers to competitive entry are very high. And then we have pure competition, and this is where a large number of firms compete with essentially similar commodities. Price is typically a determining factor in making a purchase. So, can you think of an example for each of the four types of competitive situations? For which situations is it easiest to think of an example? For which is it hardest to think of an example, and why? So, competitive advantage. In this case, we have an advertisement for a room vaporizer. Some of these products are for simply deodorizing or making the place smell nice. This one is for vaporizing. And in this case, there are very few producers of mini waterless vaporizers. Sudicare, made by Procter & Gamble, is one of them. So in a monopolistic competition, the firm attempts to monopolize its own target market, but competition still exists. So as this advertisement suggests, Sudicare Mini Waterless Vaporizer, Sudicare Mini Waterless Vaporizer, attempts to avoid head-on competition by providing the following benefits. It contains a blend of aromatic ingredients, including menthol and eucalyptus. It helps comfortably relieve congestion. Easy to replace refill pads, last up to 8 hours. Convenient and simple to use. You just plug it in. And continuous 8-hour release. So how can Sudicare be innovative when dealing in a competitive product market against other vaporizers? And what types of issues might be important to customers buying Sudicare vaporizer from a medical or a department store? Analyzing competitors to find a competitive advantage. Marketing managers must understand the competitive environment. And some of the key issues here are competitor analysis. This involves an organized approach for evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of current or potential competitors' marketing strategies. Marketers do this by gathering information on the competitors from a variety of internal and external sources. Competitive rivals, the firms that will be the closest competitors. Marketing managers must anticipate future competition, and successful marketers naturally attract competition. Search for competitive advantage, new or better ways to satisfy customer needs and provide better value than the competition. And competitive barriers. This is where the conditions that make it difficult or impossible for a firm to compete in a given market. So think about a major grocery store chain that serves your area. What are the competitive rivals for this chain? Are these rivals the only relevant competitors? Why or why not? Marketers need information about competitors, and we seek information relentlessly. But this can raise some ethical issues. Should people go to work for their former competitors using information they gained from their previous employer? Is there anything wrong with having the computer hackers break into a competitor's computer system to access information? Those are some serious ethical questions. So here, let's check our knowledge, see how we're doing. A moderately priced jewelry store is trying to differentiate itself from other jewelry stores. The store prices products somewhat lower than the super premium jewelry stores, but offers better products and services than low-end jewelry stores provide. The market situation this store faces sounds like D, monopolistic competition. There are 3 different jewelry stores discussed: low-end, moderately priced, super premium. Each store differs on pricing, quality of merchandise, and services. In monopolistic competition, a number of different firms, at least 3 different jewelry stores mentioned, offer marketing mixes that at least some customers see as different. So this is a situation similar to monopolistic competition. Let's do another one. Chris wants to open a family-oriented restaurant in a thriving suburban area. Chris thinks a sports-based theme and a broad menu will be attractive to the large number of families in the area. However, there are national chain restaurants such as Chili's, TGI Fridays, and Applebee's already drawing large followings or with a large customer base in the area. So the existence of these chain restaurants is a significant competitive barrier. In the competitor analysis, Chris has already identified 3 national chains, Chili's, TGI Fridays, Applebee's, that are already in his area, and they have established customer base. So the existence of these restaurants is a condition that may make it difficult for Chris's idea. So the best answer is C, competitive barrier. Economic environment. The economic environment affects the way firms and the whole economy uses resources. The economic environment is affected by the interactions of all the elements of the macroeconomic system. The economic environment can change very rapidly. In periods of rapid business decline, even a well-planned marketing strategy can fail. Interest rates and inflation can affect consumer buying processes. Interest rates can go up sharply in times of high inflation. Buying power declines during high inflation. The global economy is increasingly connected. Competition can come from almost anywhere. Global trade is affected by exchange rates. And marketing strategies change in a recession. Due to a recession, Consumers tend to spend less in many categories that are not necessities. Therefore, marketing managers found ways to adopt their marketing strategies and lessen the impact of the recession. The political environment. This is in reference to the way societies order their governments and to the attitudes of the government and people toward business. So let's talk about two examples of different characteristics of the political environment. There's nationalism, and then there is regional economic groupings. Nationalism is an emphasis on a country's interests before anything else. Nationalism can be limiting in international markets by reducing sales and blocking marketing activity. Regional economic groupings are becoming more important. Some examples are the EU, the European Union, and NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement. So that's building cooperation. So the legal environment has various laws to address, both rules and laws and regulations that set standards for conduct, and they're enforced by legal power. So in the case of the United States, we had, since 1890, the U.S. Congress passed a series of laws designed to encourage competition. Each of these laws regulates different aspects of the marketing mix. So there's also a relationship between anti-monopoly laws and the marketing mix planning. So the Sherman Act prohibits monopoly or conspiracy to control a product, distribution channel, or prices. Prosecution is very serious and can lead to a variety of penalties, including heavy fines and jail terms. Now we've got consumer protection agencies are part of the federal government in the United States, and they deal with, for example, consumer protection. The consumer protection is not new. Sellers are required to be truthful, meet contracts, and stand behind their products. Food and drugs are controlled by the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. One major initiative of the FDA is the development of standards for nutritional labeling. Product safety is also controlled, so the Consumer Product Safety Act of 1972 empowers its commission to remove unsafe products from the market. State and local laws vary widely. For example, every state has different automotive franchise legislation governing the retailing of new vehicles. Marketers have to know these laws, and regulation was lax in the 1980s but became much stricter in the 1990s. And in the early 2000s, it reversed itself again. Laws and enforcement differ across countries. Because legal environments are closely tied to national governments, laws and enforcement vary very significantly around the world. So, rising interest rates can slow the housing market in any market, especially the United States, and slowing business for real estate developers, mortgage lenders, and construction firms. This is a trend in which area? D, the economic environment. So changes in the economy are often accompanied by changes in the interest rate. So changes in the housing market are trends within the economic environment. So Ford announced that it would begin offering Bluetooth wireless to help consumers more easily make hands-free cell phone calls in their cars. So the development of Bluetooth is a significant development in the technological environment. Technology has made possible an explosion of high-tech products, and Bluetooth is just one of those examples, and Bluetooth in vehicles is just one example. So many states have appointed or elected commissions that oversee the business practices of utilities and other industries that serve the public interest. So for a company operating in one of these industries, dealing with this important state-level regulatory commission is an important element of the legal environment. Right? State-appointed commissions that oversee business practices serve the public interest, and that affects companies in certain industries. Culture and social environment. This affects how and why people live and behave the way they do. So key issues are this cultural and social environment affects how we live. It includes demographic trends in population and trends in income. Population mobility. People are on the move. Consumers, people move from state to state, prefecture to prefecture, and they also move from the rural areas to the urban or city areas, or between these city areas, or between the suburban areas. So people are constantly on the move. There's been a huge movement of population from the farmlands to the cities, and there continues to be a shift away from the central cities to the suburban area. So all of these changes create different needs and purchase patterns. If there's no money, there's no market. Very simple. In order to have a market, consumers must have money. So there are two popular measures of national income. There is GDP, which is the total market value of all goods and services provided in a country's economy. It's GDP. By both residents and non-residents of that country. GDP includes foreign income. GNI, or gross national income, is similar to GDP, but GNI does not include income earned by foreigners who own resources in that nation. Marketers should examine GDP, GNI, and other measures in order to get a complete picture of income. GNI and GDP do not indicate how much money is in the hands of the individuals in a country. Income per capita is taking dividing the GNI by the nation's population size, and that's the measure of individual income. It gives some idea of the income level of the people in the country, and the large number of countries with low GNI per capita is a reminder that much of the world lives in extreme poverty. There might be considerable potential and less competition in areas where per capita income is quite low. So we are in a race, and technology adoption is the race across not only North America but Europe, but Asia as well. And technology affects the world all around us. Two technology indicators that impact marketing strategies are data on cell phones and the internet usage. The adoption of these technologies may have their greatest impact in developing countries. As adoption of these technologies speeds ahead, marketing managers will need to adjust their marketing strategies accordingly. So looking at the United States, you see this, how the population is dispersed. The first point here is that the overall distribution of the population is shown in various states. The current population and population growth vary significantly in different regions of the country. Marketing managers will find growth opportunities in states and regions of the country which are growing. So, trends in the U.S. consumer market. There are several key trends occurring. Some of these are also similar in Japan and China. The age distribution in the U.S. has a big impact on marketers. Here we highlight a few of the major trends across different age cohorts. These are called cohorts. The graying of America. Boomers have had a big effect on marketing all their lives. The growth of rock and roll in the 1960s and 70s was driven by record-buying teenage baby boomers. Generation X, which is sometimes referred to as Gen X, refers to the generation born immediately following the baby boom, 1965 to 1977. By 2010, this group fell mostly in the 30 to 44 age group, and the 6.1% decline in its numbers between 2000 and 2010 was a result of the baby bust, which is opposite of the baby boom. So Generation Y is sometimes referred to as the millennials, and this refers to those people born from 1978 to 1994. And this group emerged from the echo boom and is generally larger in number than Generation X. And this group grew up with technology. Let's check our knowledge. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission in the United States, informed Tropicana that it would have to stop advertising that one of the benefits of the heart-healthy Tropicana orange juice was to lower blood pressure. So for Tropicana, this situation was a significant development. In which environment? E, the legal environment. The Federal Trade Commission investigates unfair methods of competition. So this governmental body operates in the legal environment. Wheel of opportunity. Screening criteria help narrow down specific strategies. Successful, innovative firms have strong programs for evaluating opportunities that they identify as a result of scanning the environment. These techniques help them select the opportunities most appropriate for the firm's particular competitive position. Marketers must develop and apply screening criteria. Quantitative criteria include sales, profit, and return on investment goals. Qualitative criteria summarize what businesses to be in and what strengths and trends to use as a base. The whole marketing plan should be evaluated against these criteria. Qualitative, quantitative. We also need to consider the total profit approach. The marketing manager must focus on profit and the estimates of potential sales and costs during the life of a plan. So these graphs provide one such estimate for two different products. Product A represents the estimates of a much improved product. Product B shows a Me Too product. Product B involves lower initial costs and is profitable more quickly, while product A is not profitable until year 3. So a total profit approach can help evaluate possible plans. Product A has high startup costs. Product B earns profits within a year. If the firm can afford the startup costs and delayed profits, the long-term profit potential for product A is greater. ROI can also be used to evaluate possible plans. ROI analysis can be useful for selecting among possible plans because early and equally profitable plans may require vastly different resources and offer different rates of return on investment. So here's a planning grid that helps evaluate the opportunities. It summarizes the interaction of several key variables identified by the company's team to be important to successful business ventures. So General Electric uses strategic planning grids similar to this, and they position opportunities according to industry attractiveness and business strengths. Industry attractiveness has characteristics such as size, growth, and competitive structure. So business strengths are the resources of the organization, such as people skills, technological position, growth, market share, profitability. Using industry attractiveness and business strengths, a manager can show where an opportunity appears on the grid. Opportunities occupying the green area of this matrix are growth opportunities and should be pursued. Such opportunities occur in more attractive industries and better fit with the company's strengths. Opportunities falling in the red area are ones that the firm should avoid. Such opportunities are perhaps in low growth industries and do not play to the company's strengths. In the middle, the yellow areas are borderline opportunities that the firm needs to analyze more fully in order to determine if they are worthwhile. A company may be able to develop a marketing strategy that offsets the lack of strength or low attractiveness of an industry. So here we have a multi-product company that has a difficult strategy planning job. Siemens, German company, and has many products and services, and that presents a huge risk. So a multi-product firm must come to grips with how it can best accomplish marketing. And strategy planning from firms like Siemens is a very complex task. So we use the idea of SBUs, strategic business units, and an organized subunit of a larger company that focuses on some product markets and is treated as a separate profit center. Some firms use portfolio management, and they treat each SBU like stock in an investor's portfolio. Some SBUs get greater investment, some get dropped or sold. The main weakness of this approach is that it encourages management to take short-run views of financial returns. So planning grids and portfolio analysis also apply to international opportunities, but it may be more difficult to be completely familiar with all of the environmental variables at work in foreign countries. So the farther one goes from familiar territory, the greater the risk of making big mistakes. So marketers must evaluate the risks. Risk assessment varies from market to market. International markets may be evaluated according to the likelihood of drastic political changes. Risks tend to vary along a continuum of environmental sensitivity. Most industrial products are relatively insensitive to their environment. Industrial firms may find it easier to use the same marketing mix they use in a domestic market in a new international market. Consumer products closely linked to other social or cultural variables are very sensitive to their environments. So when Disney opened a theme park in France, the parks failed to consider local French customs, such as serving wine with meals. So the Euro Disney initially failed to meet its sales goals, but then it added the local touches and the Disney Euro Park became very successful. So basic commodity type products may have some sensitivity to the environment. So a marketing mix may require minor changes. If the risks of an international opportunity are hard to judge, it may be wise to look first for opportunities that involve exporting. So now, you should be able to know the variables that shape the environment of the marketing strategy planning, understand why our company objectives are important in guiding marketing strategy planning. We know how the resources affect the search for opportunities, and now we know that different kinds of competitive situations affect strategic planning. And we understand economic and technical environments affecting our planning.